First contact gone wrong. Captain Vextel of the Zaxian trading vessel Starweaver had seen many things in his 2 centuries of space travel, but nothing quite like this. The human vessel hung motionless against the backdrop of stars, its hull scarred with plasma burns and peculiar damage patterns he'd never encountered before. His sensor officer, Kit Ray, flicked her antenna nervously as she reported the readings. "Captain, the ship appears to be operating on minimal power. Life support systems are functional, but barely. I'm detecting only one life sign. But..." She paused, mandibles clicking in confusion. "The readings are unstable." Vextel's crystalline eyes narrowed as he studied the vessel. Humans were still relatively new to the galactic community, having achieved faster-than-light travel only 30 stellar cycles ago. Their ships were considered primitive by most species standards, yet they had already established themselves as capable traders and, when necessary, fearsome warriors. "Any response to our hails?" he asked, though he already knew the answer. They'd been trying to communicate for the past hour. "None, Captain. But the ship's identification beacon is still active. It's the TSV Miranda, a human research vessel." The bridge crew exchanged uncertain looks. Human research vessels were known to carry valuable technological artifacts and biological samples. If the ship was truly abandoned, prepare a boarding party, Vextel decided. Full environmental suits and defensive measures only. Remember the protocols about human vessels. No weapons unless absolutely necessary. As his crew prepared for boarding, Vextel reviewed what he knew about humans. Their unpredictability made them simultaneously valuable allies and dangerous enemies. The Galactic Council's official advisory stated, "In crisis situations, proximity to humans should be either actively sought or completely avoided. There is no safe middle ground." The boarding party consisted of 4 Zaxians, Security Chief Mirax, 2 engineers, and their chief medical officer. Vextel watched through the ship's cameras as they crossed the docking tube and entered the human vessel. The interior lights were dim, running on emergency power, casting everything in an eerie red glow. "Captain," Mirax's voice crackled through the comm. "The internal damage is unusual. No signs of conventional weapon fire, but there are marks on the walls that suggest some kind of energy discharge we've never seen before." "Proceed with caution," Vextel ordered. "What about the life sign?" "We're tracking it. 3rd deck, aft section. It's moving." The boarding party made their way through the ship, documenting everything they found. The mess hall showed signs of a violent struggle, with tables overturned and strange burn marks on the walls. The bridge was intact but abandoned, its systems locked down with encryption that even their best decryption protocols couldn't crack. Then everything went wrong. The first warning was a massive energy spike detected at the edge of their sensor range. 3 ships dropped out of hyperspace, their designs matching no known registry. Pirates, but not any faction Vextel recognized. "Captain." Kitra's voice was sharp with alarm. "They're powering weapons." Before Vextel could order his boarding party back, the pirates opened fire. Their first volley struck the docking tube, severing it and trapping the boarding party aboard the human vessel. The second volley struck the Starweaver's engines, crippling their ability to escape. Multiple boarding craft detected. The tactical officer reported, "They're targeting both ships." Vextel had seconds to make a decision. The human vessel was already compromised, and his boarding party was trapped there. The Starweaver's weapons were failing to penetrate the pirates' shields, technology that shouldn't exist at this level in this sector. That's when the human vessel's systems suddenly came to life. "Captain." Mirax's voice came through, tight with a mixture of fear and awe. "We found the survivor. You're going to want to see this." Through the boarding party's cameras, Vextel watched as a human female emerged from a concealed compartment, her eyes gleaming with an unsettling determination. She was wearing what appeared to be a modified environment suit, covered in attachments and modifications that defied immediate analysis. "Your ship is about to be boarded. she said, her voice calm despite the chaos. "You have two options: surrender and die, or help me kill every last one of these bastards." The pirates' boarding craft were about to dock, and Vextal had to make a choice. The human's expression reminded him of the Council's warning about humans in crisis situations. He had a feeling he was about to understand exactly what that meant. The human element. The human woman moved through the Miranda's corridors with practiced efficiency, her modified environment suit humming with barely contained energy. The Zaxian boarding party struggled to keep up, their crystalline eyes tracking her every movement. "My name is Dr. Sarah Chen," she said as she accessed a hidden panel in the wall. "I'm the Miranda's chief engineer, or what's left of her crew. Those pirates aren't after your cargo. They're after what we discovered." Mirax watched as Sarah's fingers flew across the control panel. "What did you find?" "Something we shouldn't have." Sarah pulled a device from the wall. It looked like a standard power core, but its inner workings pulsed with an otherworldly light. Ancient tech, buried in an asteroid belt. "We thought we were being careful, but..." She gestured at the ship around them. "Someone knew exactly what we had." The ship shuddered as the pirates began cutting through the hull. Sarah smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "They think they have us cornered. They don't understand what they're dealing with." Through the comlink, Captain Vextal watched the human work. His own ship was under attack, boarding parties attempting to breach 3 different airlocks. The pirates' technology was beyond anything they should have had access to. Their energy shields were deflecting the Starweaver's weapons with ease. "Dr. Chen," Vextal said, "my ship is about to be boarded. Whatever plan you have, it needs to happen now. Your weapons can't penetrate their shields because they're using reversed-engineered precursor tech," Sarah explained, connecting the power core to her suit. "But here's the thing about humans. We don't just use technology. We break it down, understand it, and then we improve it." Her suit began to glow with the same otherworldly energy as the core. "The pirates killed my crew trying to get this. They thought they'd found all our research, but they missed something crucial." She turned to Murax and the other Zaxians. "We didn't just find precursor tech. We figured out how it worked." The first explosion rocked the ship as the pirates breached the outer hull. Sarah's modified suit projected a holographic display, showing both vessels and the attacking ships. "Your people are peaceful traders, Captain Vextal. My people, we prepare for war even in times of peace. The Miranda isn't just a research vessel. She's a testbed." With a gesture, Sarah activated something in her suit. Throughout the Miranda, hidden panels slid open, revealing weapons and equipment that hadn't appeared on any of the Zaxian scans. "The pirates have precursor shields, but they're using them wrong. They don't understand the underlying principles. We do." The ship's emergency lights shifted from red to blue. Sarah's voice took on a commanding tone. "Captain, have your crew activate their environmental suits. Things are about to get interesting." "What are you planning?" Vextal asked, even as he gave the order. "Humans have a saying," Sarah replied, her fingers dancing across her suit's controls. "The best defense is a good offense. But sometimes, the best defense is making your enemy's strength their weakness." The pirates were inside both ships now. On the Starweaver, they moved with military precision, their advanced weapons at the ready. But Sarah wasn't worried about them. Not anymore. "The precursor shield technology works by creating a resonance field," she explained as she worked. "It's incredibly efficient, nearly impenetrable, unless you understand exactly how it resonates." The first group of pirates reached the Miranda's engineering section. They were tall, humanoid figures in sleek combat armor, their weapons glowing with the same energy as their shields. Their leader stepped forward, weapon raised. "Surrender the artifact," the pirate demanded, their voice distorted through their helmet. Sarah looked at them, then at the Zaxian boarding party. "You might want to hold on to something." She pressed a final control on her suit. The power core's pulse synchronized with her suit's modifications, and a wave of energy rippled through both ships. For a moment, Nothing seemed to happen. Then the pirates' shields began to vibrate. The thing about resonance, Sarah said as the pirates' shields started to collapse in on themselves, is that if you get the frequency just right, you can turn a protection system into a prison. The pirates' shields imploded, the energy turning inward and overwhelming their systems. Throughout both ships, the invaders fell, their advanced technology becoming their undoing. But Sarah wasn't done. The energy wave continued to build, expanding outward toward the pirate vessels. Their massive shields, which had seemed so impenetrable, began to flicker and distort. "Captain Vextal," Sarah called out, her voice strained as she controlled the cascading energy reaction. "I suggest you prepare your weapons. In about 10 seconds, those ships are going to be completely defenseless. And I don't know about your people, but humans believe in finishing what we start." Breaking point. As the pirates' shields collapsed, chaos erupted across both vessels. The Starweaver's weapons found their marks, tearing into the suddenly vulnerable pirate ships. But victory wasn't assured yet. The pirates had one last card to play. "Emergency broadcast detected," Kitra reported from the Starweaver's bridge. "They're calling for reinforcements." Sarah's modified suit crackled with residual energy as she processed this information. The disabled pirates around them were already beginning to stir. Their technology might be temporarily neutralized, but they weren't out of the fight. "How many ships?" Vextal demanded. "At least 5 vessels, larger than the current ones. Arrival estimated in 15 minutes. Sarah exchanged looks with Mirax and the Zaxian boarding party. "We need to move fast. Those reinforcements will have already adapted their shields to prevent what we just did. But they don't know everything we have. There's more." Mirax's antenna twitched with a mixture of concern and curiosity. "There's always more," Sarah said, accessing another hidden panel. "Humans don't believe in keeping all our eggs in one basket. Captain Vextal, I'm transferring control of the Miranda's auxiliary systems to your ship. Fair warning, some of what you're about to see might seem excessive." The Miranda's systems came alive under Sarah's commands. Hidden weapon ports opened along the hull, revealing armaments that made the Zaxians' defensive weaponry look like toys. But more surprising was what happened next. "By the eternal stars," one of the Zaxian engineers whispered as sections of the Miranda's hull began to reconfigure themselves. "The entire ship is a weapon." "Not exactly," Sarah corrected, her fingers flying over her suit's controls. "The Miranda is a research vessel, but we learned long ago that the best way to study something is to be prepared for when it studies back. Everything you see here was built from what we learned about precursor tech, improved upon, and adapted to human needs." The first group of recovering pirates chose that moment to attack. Their weapons might have been temporarily disabled, but they were still trained fighters. They rushed the engineering section with brutal efficiency. What they weren't prepared for was Sarah's response. Her modified suit suddenly expanded, panels sliding into place to create a powered exoskeleton. She met the pirates head-on, moving with augmented speed and strength. "The thing about humans," she said as she fought, her movements precise and devastating, "is that we never stopped evolving. We took every challenge, every setback, every near-extinction event, and we adapted. We survived." On the Starweaver, Vextal watched in amazement as the Miranda's systems integrated with his ship's controls. The vessel that had appeared dead and helpless was revealing itself to be something else entirely. "Captain," Sarah called out between dealing with pirates, "I suggest you begin evacuating non-essential personnel from the outer sections of your ship. Things are about to get very interesting." "What are you planning?" Vextal asked, even as he gave the evacuation order. "Those reinforcements think they're coming to rescue their friends. They're not ready for what happens when humans are backed into a corner." Sarah's voice was calm, despite the intensity of the fighting around her. "Remember how I said we improved upon the precursor tech? We didn't just improve their shields. We improved everything." The Miranda's hull continued its transformation, systems that had been dormant coming online one after another. The ship that had appeared to be a simple research vessel was revealing its true nature, a testbed for humanity's adaptation of ancient technology. 10 minutes until reinforcements arrive, Kitra reported. Sarah nodded, finishing off the last of the attacking pirates with a precise strike. Perfect. That's just enough time to show you why the Galactic Council's warning about humans isn't just about our unpredictability. It's about our creativity. She turned to the Zaxian boarding party, her exoskeleton retracting slightly to reveal her determined expression. Your people value peace and trade. You see technology as a tool for progress. We see it differently. Every tool is a weapon if you hold it right, and every weapon can be improved. The pirate reinforcements were now visible on long-range sensors, their ships heavily armed and clearly ready for a fight. But as they approached, Sarah's smile grew wider. You know what humans love more than improving weapons? She asked, activating one final set of controls, proving everyone wrong about what's possible. The Miranda's transformation reached its completion, and what emerged was something that would change the Zaxians' understanding of humanity forever. The tables turn. The Miranda's transformation completed just as the pirate reinforcements dropped out of hyperspace. What had once been a modest research vessel now bristled with weaponry, its hull reconfigured into an aggressive profile that even veteran space warriors would find intimidating. But Sarah wasn't done yet. You know what pirates hate most? She asked, her modified suit interfacing with the ship's new configuration. Finding out they're not the scariest thing in space. The Miranda's systems pulsed with energy, creating a field that enveloped both it and the Starweaver. The pirate ships opened fire immediately, their weapons enhanced by stolen precursor tech. Their shots hit the field and vanished. Impossible, one of the Zaxian engineers whispered. They're not just being deflected. The energy is disappearing. Not disappearing, Sarah corrected. Being absorbed and repurposed. Humans learned something important during our early wars. There's no such thing as too much firepower, but there's definitely such a thing as using it wrong. The pirate ships spread out, trying to surround them. Their confidence was obvious. Even with the Miranda's transformation, they still outnumbered the two vessels significantly. Captain Vextal, Sarah called out, remember how I said your weapons couldn't penetrate their shields? That's about to change. I'm transferring a weapons configuration to your systems. Don't worry about conservation. The more they shoot at us, the more power we have to shoot back. On the Starweaver's bridge, Vextal watched in amazement as his ship's weapon systems reconfigured themselves. The pirates were still firing, their attacks growing more intense as none of their shots had any effect. Energy absorption at 70%, Sarah reported. 80, 90, and now. She activated something in her suit, and both ships' weapons came alive. But they weren't firing normal energy weapons or projectiles. Instead, they released concentrated beams of the pirates' own stolen precursor energy, modified and enhanced by human innovation. The effect was devastating. The first pirate ship's shields didn't just fail. They shattered, the energy cascade destroying their defensive systems completely. The second and third ships tried to retreat, but the humans' modified weapons were too quick. This is impossible. The pirate leader's voice crackled over the comm. The precursor tech cannot be controlled like this. It cannot be. Cannot. Sarah interrupted, her voice carrying an edge of steel. Humans don't really believe in that word. We prefer to think of limitations as challenges. For instance, your ships are about to discover another thing we've learned about precursor tech. The Miranda's hull shifted again, revealing one final weapon. A massive cannon that seemed to draw in light itself. We discovered that precursor technology has a fascinating quirk, Sarah explained as the weapon charged. It resonates with itself. The more precursor tech you have in one place, the more unstable it becomes, unless you know exactly how to control it. The pirate ships, realizing what was about to happen, tried to flee. But Sarah had planned for this too. The energy field surrounding the Miranda and Starweaver expanded, creating a localized disruption in space that prevented hyperspace jumps. Last chance, Sarah broadcast to the pirate fleet. Power down your ships and surrender, or discover exactly how humans have improved upon precursor weapon design. The pirates responded by launching everything they had: missiles, energy weapons, even what appeared to be some kind of plasma-based artillery. Every shot was absorbed by the field, feeding power to the Miranda's final weapon. They never learn, Sarah sighed. Captain Vextal, I suggest your crew looks away. This might be a bit bright. The Miranda's cannon fired. What emerged wasn't a beam or a projectile, but a wave of pure energy that rippled through space itself. When it touched the pirate ships, their stolen precursor technology didn't just fail, it reversed, turning their own systems against them in a cascade of catastrophic overloads. In seconds, the mighty pirate fleet was reduced to drifting hulks, their advanced technology rendered useless by human ingenuity. By the eternal stars, Mirax breathed. Is this why the Council warns about humans in crisis situations? Sarah's suit powered down as she began shutting off the weapon systems. No, she said quietly. They warn about us because what you just saw, that was us being merciful. They're disabled, not destroyed. Their crews will survive. She turned to the Zaxian boarding party, her expression serious. The Council warns about humans because they figured out that we're not just another spacefaring species. We're the ones who look at the impossible, smile, and say, watch this. A new understanding. In the aftermath of the battle, the true scope of human ingenuity became clear. The disabled pirate ships floated silently in space, their crews contained but alive. The Miranda's hull had returned to its original configuration, once again appearing as nothing more than a simple research vessel. Sarah stood in the Starweaver's conference room, facing Captain Vextal and his senior staff. Her modified suit had powered down to its basic form, though the Zaxians now knew better than to assume anything about human technology was truly basic. The pirates will be collected by Galactic Council peacekeepers, Vextal announced, his crystalline eyes fixed on Sarah. But we have questions, many questions. I imagine you do, Sarah replied, placing a small device on the conference table. It projected a hologram of the precursor artifact they'd discovered. But first, let me show you what they were really after. The hologram expanded, showing complex data streams and energy patterns. We didn't just find precursor technology. We found their research notes, their failures, their abandoned attempts to solve problems we've already overcome. Mirax leaned forward, antenna twitching with interest. You mean humans have surpassed them? In some ways, yes. Sarah manipulated the hologram, showing how human modifications had improved upon the ancient designs. The precursors were brilliant, but they were limited by their own assumptions. Humans, we don't make assumptions. We experiment. We fail. We learn. We adapt. And create weapons of unimaginable power, one of the Zaxian officers added nervously. Sarah shook her head. Everything you saw today, those weren't weapons. Not really. They were safety measures. Humans learned early in our history that the best way to preserve peace is to be prepared for war. But being prepared doesn't mean we seek it out. She gestured to the Starweaver around them. Your people are traders, peaceful explorers. We respect that. But we also know that space is vast and often dangerous. What we did today wasn't about showing off human military might. It was about protecting those who choose peace from those who would exploit it. Vextal was quiet for a moment, considering. The Galactic Council's warning about humans. It needs revision. Oh. Sarah raised an eyebrow. Yes, it's not enough to say one should seek out or avoid humans in a crisis. One should understand why. He stood, his crystalline form catching the light. Your species isn't just unpredictable. You're innovators, protectors. You take the impossible and make it routine. Sarah smiled. We prefer to think of ourselves as problem solvers. Sometimes the problem is pirates with stolen tech. Sometimes it's figuring out how to improve thousand-year-old alien technology. The solution is always the same. Think, adapt, overcome. And what happens now? Mirax asked. Surely you don't expect us to keep this secret. Actually, we're counting on you sharing it. Sarah activated one final hologram, official documentation from Earth's government. My mission wasn't just research, it was diplomatic. We've been looking for the right moment, the right way to show the galactic community that humans aren't just the newcomers anymore. We're ready to share what we've learned to help protect peace-loving species from those who would threaten them. The conference room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity wasn't just offering technology. They were offering partnership, protection, a new way forward. There will be those who fear this, Vextal warned, who will see human advancement as a threat. Sarah's expression turned serious. There always are. But here's the thing about humans. We're not interested in conquest or domination. We're interested in growth, in learning, in protecting those who want to do the same. She gestured to the pirate ships still visible through the viewport. Today wasn't about showing strength. It was about showing restraint. As the Zaxians processed this, their understanding of humanity shifted. The species they had seen as primitive newcomers had revealed themselves to be something else entirely, not conquerors or warriors, but guardians. Innovators who had taken the best of the past and transformed it into something new. In a crisis, Vextal said slowly, seek out humans first. Not because they are the most powerful, but because they understand something the rest of us are still learning. Oh, Sarah asked, and what's that? That the greatest strength isn't in the weapons you can build or the technology you can control. It's in knowing when to use them, and more importantly, when not to. Sarah nodded, looking out at the stars. Welcome to the future, Captain. Humanity is ready to help build it, one problem at a time. The Starweaver's engines hummed to life, preparing to escort their new allies home. In the distance, the disabled pirate ships served as a reminder. Sometimes the best way to maintain peace was to be very, very good at war. But more importantly, they served as proof that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their ingenuity. It was their humanity itself.